Family, friends, and officers gathered this morning in Ralston to honor the life of Nebraska Trooper Kyle McAcy.
Our Johan Marin was there and witnessed the unwavering support and love from the community during this difficult time.
An American flag held over Trooper Kyle McAcy's casket as a somber goodbye and to honor his life.
Kyle was a dedicated trooper. Countless times as a son, he was dedicated to his mother and father. He shared with us numerous times his concern. He shared with us numerous times his joys of going to football games with mom and dad. Coming over to his mom and dad's house, couldn't wait to find out what treats mom had.
Trooper McAcy was tragically hit by a snowplow and killed while responding to a crash a week ago on I-80 in snowy conditions.
We heard the story of someone having an emotional breakdown on the side of the interstate, ready to end it all. But Kyle pulled over, pulled them out of their car, and let them cry on his shoulder. How Kyle saved their life that day, and they have since gone on to get the help that they needed.
Troopers and officers across the country filled the Liberty First Credit Union arena, paying their respects. We heard from state officials recognizing Trooper McAcy's love for his job.
Trooper Kyle McAcy was a hero, but quite honestly, we have no idea of the extraordinary hero he was.
Trooper McAcy's family shared their thoughts and said one last emotional goodbye.
And to Kyle, I got it. Get some rest. You've earned it. We'll take it from here.
In Ralston, I'm Johan Marin, First Alert 6.
Kyle's family is asking if you do want to pay your respects, you can donate to Children's Nebraska Hospital, where he was an off-duty security guard.
Now,